Comrade Farid, in your presentation, you say it looks like international solidarity might not be really working out very well because of the perceptions also of the international institutions and their understanding of how they should relate and support, the struggles, because there appears to be a leaning more towards the communist or against the communist, leaning organizations. I don't know whether in your own local Iranian, experience, you may suggest to us how that, apparent, because the assumption is that the institution will be assisting, but there are those underlying tensions that need to be resolved. So in your own way, if you could find a way to suggest something, I'll be very happy.
Just quickly for the second.
For Comrade Appiah, it is a short one. Comrade Appiah talked about the conditions for this solidarity to take place. But he also said there is apparent competition between the international organizations that want to assist. In your own ways, I would also like you to make a suggestion or two on how this could be dealt with practically by people from the South.
Thank you. Okay, I think we'll start there. And so we have Mustafa, Farid, and Appiah to respond.
Thank you, Denis, for the question. So BDS Quebec did have a campaign for about 2 years against CAE. So CAE, for people who don't know, is a corporation that's involved in actually flight simulators for various international militaries. So the American military, they very proudly did the flight simulations for the US Air Force before the lead up to the Iraq War. And they also had a contract, a very large contract, with 2 Israeli companies. One of them being Israeli Air Force Industries, and then the other with the actual Israeli Air Force. So the one with, and one of them was to actually test their drones. So Quebec actually has a drone airport near Lac Saint-Jean, and or Alma, Quebec. And it's where a lot of countries test their military drones, and Israel was testing their military drones there. So there was a campaign against CAE, but then eventually we went to the shareholders meeting, there was a press conference held, and the Israelis did not renew the contract with CAE. But it could have actually been quite a very large campaign, in my opinion. But also, there's also another important 2 other Quebec companies that are involved in similar things, not in terms of the Israeli Air Force and supporting the killing of, through drone strikes, but Hydro-Quebec has made a new contract within the Israeli electricity firm, as well as Bombardier, both very important firms, and so both have the potential to be very large campaigns. And we can talk about it later.
Thanks, Mustafa. Yeah, where do you want?
Sorry. Comrade, thank you so much for your question. Actually, Canadian Union of Postal Workers and Canadian Union of Public Employees, both national and provincial, especially provincial with the International Solidarity Committee, they've been very supportive throughout the years, and you're right, it goes back to probably more than 15 years, probably 20 years. And in fact, Canadian Union of Postal Workers was one of the organizations who endorsed when International Alliance was formed, endorsed and was part of the formation. And I think Comrade Everett, who cares, I don't know if he's in the room, was involved as part of the advisor and throughout the whole time. So it was it's been very effective in so many different ways. It opened up opportunities. But also, believe it or not, those protest letters are very helpful. You send a protest letter that also gets translated, gets distributed across social media, Iranian website, Farsi websites, labor activists website inside Iran. If you ask labor activists, those labor activists that have been persecuted, if they know some unions in Canada, they will tell you Canadian Union of Postal Workers and CUPE. These are the only two unions they actually know, because these two unions, they consistently been very supportive. So we really like to receive those kind of support letters because it can have impact. But at the same time, we have a challenge. ILO tripartism, which I couldn't get into that, it's been one of the challenges because some of the international federations, when they get into the working with ILO, they work within very limited bureaucracy and wait for, there's a complaint against the repression of these labor activists that the file opened 10 years ago, in 2006, and it still is an open file. Because it just takes them forever to, and during this time, 2 of the comrades that the file was open for them, they died. One of them was killed in jail, another one was died of cancer just because they didn't let him to leave the prison. So it's been ineffective working within the ILO system. And I don't know what we have to do about that. And regarding the ITUC and WFTU, it's really long. We have, it's very challenging dealing with both WFTU and ITUC. WFTU claims to be coming from a more pro-communist, anti-capitalist and all that. But they actually not supporting Iranian activists who are anti-capitalist and socialist and communist. They're supporting an organization who's anti-worker, anti-socialist, pro-capitalist, and they're not even workers. And they actually, they're vice president of their presidential committee as workers representative. So it's just WFTU need to be accountable around this policy just because they think that the Iranian government is still anti-imperialist, which is one of the biggest lies. There's no anti-imperialism about it whatsoever. And these workers are anti-imperialist. These workers are anti-capitalist. With ITUC still suffers from anti-communism. It goes back. They're never acting because what happened was, I have to tell, and it's so hard to get into that. Yes, I'm a political refugee. All of our members were highly labor organizers back home. They're political refugees. So many of them are like me. They're actually workers and they're representing their own workplaces. Years and years of campaign within ITUC that we are communists, that these are the International Alliance of Communist Organizations. So many of these people who are working in support of workers in Iran are communists, and even reaching out to French trade unions saying that these are communists. What's wrong with you? I mean, it's not, the Cold War is over. Of course, the labor movement, within the labor movement, so many of workers, activists are socialists and anti-capitalists. The question is, why are you not? Why are you actually in such international federation and you're not anti-capitalist and you're not socialist? So these are the challenges, we have to challenge them, and it's serious challenges that need to be made, and I'm glad that as part of labor internationalism, we need to talk about that more, hopefully within this today. Thanks so much. Thanks, comrades.
Merci pour votre question. Ce que j'étais en train de dire, c'est que par le passé, il y a eu des expériences en matière de collaboration et il y a eu des insuffisances, notamment la compétition entre les différentes organisations syndicales au niveau international. Et maintenant, nous recherchons une nouvelle forme de collaboration, justement débarrassée des estampilles de l'impérialisme syndical. Donc, dans un premier temps, il faut qu'on voit la chose au niveau idéologique. Les travailleurs, les syndicats du Nord doivent se mettre à l'idée qu'il n'y a pas d'autre choix que de s'unir. Et ça me fait rappeler ce que Marx disait quand il disait prolétaires de tous les pays, unissez-vous. C'est aujourd'hui un impératif. Il faut que les syndicats du Nord comprennent que la lutte est globalisée et on a un peu plus de chances que ceux du Nord soient avancés. Donc qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour renforcer ceux du Sud, pour que dans ce combat global, ils puissent jouer leur rôle afin de contrebalancer les effets pervers du capitalisme. Donc ça, c'est le premier point au niveau théorique, au niveau idéologique. Au niveau pratique, j'ai proposé la plateforme. On a la chance au Canada, il y a une plateforme qui existe. Mais si on commet l'erreur de ne pas en installer au sud, on va se retrouver dans cette même dynamique-là. Et moi, je crains qu'on se retrouve très tôt dans le passé, parce que même si la CMT et la CSIL n'existent plus, il y a la CSI qui est là, et il y a la FSM qui existe toujours, et puis on voit les Chinois qui sont en train d'arriver aussi. Donc on pourrait retourner dans ce type de compétition si on n'installe pas par exemple cette plateforme-là. Chacun va aller et au lieu de chercher l'épanouissement des travailleurs, le renforcement des syndicats pour qu'ils puissent jouer leur rôle localement, ils vont chercher leur visibilité, ils vont implémenter des projets. Les autres vont venir refaire la même chose. Donc pour mitiger ces résultats, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Il faut autant une plateforme au nord, une autre plateforme au sud. Je pense que dans chaque pays, il peut y en avoir, et puis au niveau régional, peut-être en Afrique de l'Ouest, en Afrique de l'Est, il peut y avoir des structures, par exemple la CSI Afrique, ou toute autre structure qui puisse coordonner toutes ces activités-là pour ne pas qu'on se retrouve encore dans cette compétition qui a fait qu'aujourd'hui, les syndicats du Sud sont encore très en arrière et sont déficitaires dans cette lutte-là contre le capitalisme.
Okay, we're nearing the time, but if there's any question, I just want to leave it open for any of the speakers who haven't had a chance to respond. Any question?
I'd just like to ask Farid, if he thinks it's important to make the Canadian public and activists aware about foreign intervention and anti-imperialism against Iran. I mean, it's good to support solidarity with Iranian workers, but perhaps, with the pro-Zionist assault against all progressive forces, and they want to take out the Iranian regime, I'm sure, and world imperialism, by U.S. imperialism, that we don't seem like we're supporting imperialism by criticizing the regime there. So I think we have to make that distinction, and that's a big concern. I'm sure Trump is just itching to start a war with Iran now. We're being encircled by military bases. There's a lot of disinformation about Iran now, and they're being accused of backing terrorism worldwide. Meanwhile, there's terrorism being, assassination of their scientists, etc., in Iran. So.
Okay, so we'll get Farid to respond to that. Thank you.
Is it a chance that I could just for 1 second show one of my
Quickly,
slides?
yeah.
Because I want to.
Good way to end with the photo.
So it's okay because I think I can find it. It's actually one of my slides talking about one of the resolutions that we passed at CUPE, Ontario Convention, and it has three parts. One part is regarding supporting workers' rights and workers' right to organize against capitalist agenda and neoliberalism and privatization and all that, but also against not only economic sanction, but also any military intervention against Iran by the US and the Western power. So that's been our position from the very beginning, and that's a resolution that we actually been using in many other parts of the world as well. So we condemn any sort of economic sanction against Iran. Also, we oppose any military intervention and war. At the same time, also one of our policy being around the support of Palestinian movement and also against the Israeli apartheid. We think that it's one thing is very important to also distinguish that, and sometimes, unfortunately, in the West, some of the activists in the like on the left side, they haven't been able, on the other side, on the Iranian side as well, building dialogue and having dialogue around what's happening in Iran. There is a major class struggle happening in Iran, and also there is a major anti-capitalist struggle happening in Iran. And the Iranian government is a very capitalist, anti-worker, repressive regime. But at the same time, how we could actually support the working class struggle against the regime, at the same time strongly opposing regime change policies of the United States. So finding that balance is absolutely important, and that's one of the major debates that need to be happening and continue to happen, because the Iranian labor movement strongly opposes not only Trump, but also Obama, the US government, US administration as a whole. And they don't want to have, and something that I had here also, but not only that, we also have policies against Solidarities Center, which is AFL-CIO's international body. We have no connection, and we are actually opposing any connection by any of the labor organizations inside Iran with the AFL-CIO Solidarity Center, because the funding comes from the US government, and they've always been following US policies. So if they get involved into Iran, they're definitely matching their policies with US government's foreign policy, which we oppose.